Welcome in, everybody. A little bit of a bonus episode of the Aaron Torres Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Torres. Hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's having a great day. And we're going to do something a little bit different today. Rather than doing the normal episode, news of the day, topics of the day, we're going to lay out and we're going to welcome in just a few minutes a very special guest to the Aaron Torres Pod, new NC State head coach, Will Wade. That's right. If you're new to the show or if you're not, we love Coach Wade on the show. Okay, we had him on a bunch when he was at McNeese State. We had him on right before the NCAA tournament this March when, of course, McNeese upset Clemson for the first win in program history in the NCAA tournament at McNeese. And now we are welcoming him back to the show to talk about the new gig at NC State. We cover pretty much everything. Now, I will admit, we recorded before NC State got a commitment from Van Allen Lubin this weekend. He actually mentioned, I said, so your roster's kind of set. He goes, we might have one or two more that you got to keep your eye out for, Torres. But basically, Will Wade was on. He was awesome. And we talked about everything, why he took the job, why NC State specifically, putting together a roster. We talked about his new GM, Andrew Slater, who, of course, has quite a bit of a social media personality dating back to when he was a recruiting analyst about 4 or 5 years ago before he went to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And we talked about actually the most recent addition before Van Allen Lubin, Darrion Williams. How did Darrion Williams, one of the best players in the portal, end up at NC State? That's all coming up in just a moment with Will Wade. Before we get started, a couple quick reminders. One, make sure you are subscribed to the Aaron Torres Pod and Aaron Torres Pod YouTube channel. You know, in addition to all of our normal shows, our interviews, we're doing some coaching stuff this month, by the way. BYU head coach Kevin Young joins us next week. We had AJ DeBonsa a few weeks ago. We have also started, by the way, our College Hoops off-season grade series, okay? So if you missed it on Monday night, we started with the Florida Gators, defending champs. We looked at everybody that they have added over the last couple months, Boogie Flan, Xavier Lee, the guys that are coming back. And what does it mean for Florida's chances at a second straight national championship? So off-season grades have started. We've done Florida. We're going to do all the big schools, Kentucky, Louisville, UConn, Arizona, St. John's, on and on and on. And oh, by the way, we will get to NC State at some point as well. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're subscribed on Apple and Spotify. And before we do get to Will Wade, there is one more thing that I want to mention. That is our friends. That is our partners. That is Cauley Puffs and CauleyPuffs.com. Okay, so I've told you all about Cauley Puffs' story, but we love this company, family-owned company, snack that is healthy but delicious. Again, you know all about Cauley Puffs, okay? Owner of the company, Joey, huge sports fan, okay? So he was part of our Aaron Torres Pod Survivor Pool in the NCAA tournament. He loves football, Rams season ticket holder here in Los Angeles. And one day he was sitting on the couch and he said, you know what? I'm sitting on the couch. I'm watching all these games. I need a snack that is both healthy but delicious, something my kids are going to like, something I'm going to like. He came up with Cauley Puffs. Baked, not fried, avocado oil, no grease, healthy ingredients. So yeah, they are healthy, but they also taste delicious as well. For more information, to try them out for yourself, and so many of you have tried them, and we so much appreciate it. For more information, go to CauleyPuffs.com. That's CauleyPuffs.com. CauleyPuffs.com. You can also find them on Amazon.com as well. Just search Cauley Puffs there. So thank you to Cauley Puffs for your support. Thank you for your support. And most importantly, thank Coach Will Wade for joining the Aaron Torres Pod. He is up next. All right, joining me via Zoom, one of my favorite guys to talk to pretty much about everything going on in college sports, but obviously today we are going to be focusing mostly on the new job. He is the new head coach, NC State basketball. We've had him on as the McNeese coach many times. Coach Will Wade, my man, what's going on?
I'm doing well, Aaron. Thanks for having me back on.
Well, it's a pleasure to have you back on. A couple things. Listen, I know you've done a lot of interviews since you got the job. We haven't spoken, at least on the show, since you left McNeese, and I didn't really get a chance to ever ask you about, kind of the way that it ended at McNeese. I mean, we all have visions when we take new jobs about, going out on top and doing all that. I would just ask you, I know how much kind of that community meant to you, your family, all of that. And I was thinking about this morning is, you had so many nice things to say about the opportunity that school provided for you to finish up first ever NCAA tournament win, at least as far as I could tell. I know we're focused on NC State now. I know we're moving forward, but how nice was it to kind of end on a bang there with McNeese State?
Yeah, it was huge. I mean, that was really, really important to me, to make sure that we left the program as good as we could possibly leave it. And I mean, it was the first NCAA tournament win in school history. I think there'll be more, but it was certainly the first, and that's something that can't be taken away. And so, I felt really good about everything. After we won the game, it was like, all right, like this is as good as this is as good as we could have gotten it. And so that was important to me, to at least feel like, that we had paid back their belief in us, their investment in us, and everything that they had put into to the program to help make us successful. It was important to me that I felt like that we gave that back, and I think that by getting to the NCAA back-to-back years, and then certainly winning a game was like the cherry on top of the sundae, so to speak. And it was very, very meaningful, very, very powerful. The athletic director, Heath Schroyer, actually sent me a picture of us hugging, and it's hanging in my office. I got it yesterday.
Great.
So it came in and they hung it this morning. And so just really, really cool. And it was a great way to kind of put the bow on the tenure at McNeese. And as you said, I'm always highly appreciative and very indebted to McNeese, the Lake Charles community, for everything they did for myself and my family.
So on a much lighter note, on the way out of McNeese, and I know you've talked about this, was I enjoyed. Now I think you were just being you, but kind of I called it the Will Wade honesty tour on the way out, which was you're asked about the NC State job. I think all the media that was in Providence, I'm not criticizing them in any way, shape, or form, but I think they're expecting the cliche, we're focused on Clemson. That's the only thing I'm worried about. And you were kind of just transparent, not only about yourself, but about your players as well. Hey, yeah, I've talked to NC State. Seems like a great place. We'll see where it goes. And then the line that I loved was after the game, you basically saying, hey, listen, it's not just about me. Those guys got coaches sliding in their DMs right now as we speak after a performance like that. I know to you, you're just being you, but I kind of thought it was like sort of an important moment for college sports in general of just this is where we are. These are the realities. And welcome to college sports of 2025.
Yeah, I just kind of say the quiet part out loud. I mean, a
Yep.
lot of people think that, but I mean, I don't know why we're scared to talk about it. It's the way of the world these days. And I said this, unless you're in our program, look, the honesty approach doesn't work for everybody. If you run your program where it's not like just blunt, trauma in terms of honesty, like just blunt force honesty all day, every day, which is what we do and what we do with our players. If you don't run your program like that, when you do that, people are gonna be like, that's, they react a little bit differently. But the guys who are with us every day and the people who are with us every day, they're like, oh, it's just coach being coach. That's just his normal self. Like he's just telling it like it is. And so it doesn't affect anything. They'd have been more surprised and shocked if I'd have gone in there and given some canned answer. Oh yeah, we're focused on Clemson, and 100% of our focus there. We'll deal with that afterwards. Whatever. Like the guys would have been like, is coach sick? Like, what's wrong with him? And so, I think that the best way. I say this to our guys, like when we're going through tough parts of a season or whatever. Some of the stuff I went through, like the only way through a hurricane, straight through the eye. You're not going to get there kind of going around the edges. You're still going to get a bunch of wind shear and you're still going to get, but you got to go, I mean, you got to go straight through it. And so, that was, you know, our approach and just kind of, hey, not everybody understood it. And certainly if we'd have lost, everybody said, oh, they were distracted. And, I had 1 foot out the door and the players had 2 feet out the door and whatever. But, we don't really care what anybody thinks. And that's kind of how we were. And I guess it was a little bit different, but I didn't realize it was going to cause such a
It was interesting.
uproar.
Well, the only reason I thought it was interesting only because you've been coming out with me for years, and throughout your time at McNeese, you were transparent about the opportunities that might be ahead, coaching, whatever. And so I just found it funny from a distance that people, and I'm not claiming I know you very well, but I always enjoy speaking with you. And I just found it interesting that people that don't know you as well may be a little bit surprised. So you mentioned, going straight through the eye of that hurricane there. First thing you did, you went straight to a Hurricanes game. I mean, how is life down in Raleigh? I saw you ringing the bell. How have things been outside of the job responsibilities, putting together a roster, all that? How you enjoying your time down there so far?
It's been fun. I mean, look, this is the honeymoon. It's always fun. Now we
Sure.
hadn't lost yet. Everybody's still excited. There's hope. Everybody's fired up. But look, it's a great area. It's a fun area. There's a lot to do. I haven't been able to explore everything because we've pretty much been going to the same restaurants, same hotels, same places with all these visits that we've had. But it's a really neat place, and it's been fun. I look forward to, as things calm down a little bit here this summer, being able to get out and explore a little bit more and spend a little bit more time getting around. But it's a cool place, great vibe, great people, and we've got an incredible fan base. I was really surprised at really how red, so to speak, Raleigh is in terms of, I'm not talking politics. I'm talking in terms of, just in terms of NC State. Like I thought it'd be much more divided because we have all the schools here close. I thought it'd be much more divided, but like in our area, it's all red and all NC State.
So that's kind of leads me to kind of an interesting follow up is I've actually never been to the Triangle area, which we'll discuss here in a minute, but like
Got to get you here.
well, that was gonna be the last question. Give me the sales pitch. I mean, I usually try to get to a couple places I've never been. I was just in Provo last year, Tucson the year before, whatever. We'll discuss that at the
To
end.
get you off that West Coast, man. Get you back
Oh
east.
my, you got no idea.
I will
Anyway,
say this: I went from here to Phoenix a couple weeks ago with a couple of our players. And I forget, I've been in Louisiana basically the last 8 years, 9 years. I got on that flight, and I'm just saying, yeah, it's probably 2.5, 3 hours to Phoenix because you're kind of 2.5, 3 hours.
yep.
That flight attendant said 5 hours and 5 minutes. I said, oh my gosh, like you
Yep.
just forget, and then I'm sitting there and thinking, I'm like, well, I'm damn near in the Atlantic Ocean. Like, yeah, this makes sense. Like, it's a long way over there. You just forget. It was like 4 hour and 50 minute flight in the air, and then with all
Oh
the
no.
times added on, it was more. But you just forget how how far east you are. But we got to get you back east.
Well, I'm down. It was funny. I don't even know if you know this, but I went to UConn as a student, and I went back to stores for the first time, watched some practices last fall, and I was like, you guys that travel like every week for whatever, like these NBA players that'll play in Phoenix on a Tuesday, and then they're in Minnesota, then they're in Boston, then they're. I was like, how do people travel like this for a living? I was all screwed up for like 4 straight days, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah. So I was going to ask you. So, what was it about the job? I remember talking to you in the wintertime about if what opportunities could hypothetically intrigue you, and you basically all I remember you really saying was place that me and my family can really be for hopefully the remainder of my career or a long time. But once you started talking to NC State, I mean, I know about the ACC and the history and everything. I mean, I think even maybe a casual basketball fan doesn't realize quite how much history there is. And as you said, maybe the fan base is a little bit bigger than you thought. But what was it that appealed about NC State once you kind of got those conversations going?
Well, you don't want to go anywhere who hasn't won before.
Mm-hmm.
And, we've won two national titles. We have a rich history. We've been in the upper echelon of the league at times, and we've been there for sustained periods of times, but we haven't sustained it over, 30 years. And I think that we have the ability here to do that. And I feel like we have a fan base, we have an arena, we have a great university, we've got great support and commitment from our athletic director, our athletic department. And when you have all that, it gives you a chance. And this is a place that's very, very passionate. It's a state in general and an area in general that's passionate about basketball, but our school and our fans are extremely passionate um, about basketball, and I think that gives you an opportunity to really win at a at a high level and do this at a high level. And so I think the trick is being able to sustain the winning, being able to not win in pockets and have a decade long run where we're in the top of the ACC. We're giving ourselves cracks at it every year, and if we do that, you're gonna break through. But this is the type place where you can, have a decade, 15 years where you're just a truly, truly consistent winner. And I think I don't think there's 15, 20 programs in the country that you can say that.
It was interesting. I was listening to another interview that you did, since you've gotten the job, where you said that when you got the job, you actually moved a little bit slower than you had at previous stops. I found that interesting just because, as somebody who covers the portal every day, the portal in April have never moved faster. So, like, what went into that thought process as to why you wanted to operate the way that you did?
Just think, you measure twice and cut once. You want to make sure that you're getting the right guys. I think that, that's just more important than anything. It's part of why I hired Andrew Slater as our general manager. He just has an incredible amount of intel on these kids. I think it's really, really important that you put the right people around you. And to do that, it takes some time. And maybe there were some kids who would have been a little bit quicker recruitments or that we missed on because we weren't quite ready or didn't quite feel like we had all the information. But I like the group that we've put together. I like the crew that we've assembled, and I think we've gone about it in a very pragmatic way, and I think we've gone about it in a very um, disciplined way where it's not like just, hey, we'll grab him, we'll grab him, we'll grab him, and let's just see how it all works when we get done grabbing guys. It's, hey, we get Holloman and that leads to this, and we get Arsenault and that leads to this, and you just kind of everybody starts building off each other a little bit, and I think we've been very disciplined with how we've gone about it.
So you mentioned Andrew Slater. I know Slater a little bit from back in his recruiting days. One of a kind. I don't know how much you can give on your recruiting pitch to him, but also the impact that he has had. I think everybody that would listen to this knows, but he's a former recruiting guy with the Oklahoma, and then he went to the Oklahoma City Thunder. But even among the recruiting guys, I think there was a level of respect for his relationships and things of that nature. But what went into that recruiting pitch? Because, probably one of the more important ones you've done since you got the job.
Yeah, we've been good friends for a while. Most people didn't know that because he kind of operates under the radar.
Oh, he'll tell you that too. Yeah.
And
The shadows. Yeah.
I try not to tell people everything we got going on. So, we've been good friends for a while. It's something we had talked about. Probably got solidified. We were both in Las Vegas for an event this year, earlier this year around Christmas time. He was out there doing something for Oklahoma City. I was out there recruiting for McNeese at the time. We went to breakfast and we kind of talked about it. We were at breakfast probably 2.5, 3 hours at this diner in Vegas. And we talked about it there and we obviously I didn't know what was going to happen or what could happen or how things were gonna shake out. But I felt like then that, hey, look, if it's the right place and it's the right timing that he would be interested, and certainly he was somebody that I was extremely, extremely interested in. He just brings a lot of different perspective. He's very quiet, but he's always thinking. And then when he talks, everybody listens. You can hear pin drop whenever he's talking, because everybody's going to listen. It's going to be well thought out. It's going to be well reasoned. It's going to be well researched. And he's just, like you said, he's unique. I mean, he's like a unicorn. He's one of the few people that has the relationships across kind of the grassroots, the parents, the NBA community, the college. But I mean, he's got just a wide array, wide variance in terms of his relationships that have been very helpful for us in helping put this class together.
He's very, very good at what he does. And like you said, he doesn't speak much, but when I run past him, I always enjoy talking with him. So yeah, when I get back to Raleigh, I'll be able to check in with him too. Really quickly, the roster. First of all, I should have asked you this before we recorded. I hope and think you can talk about everybody. If I name a name, just we'll edit it out if if there's somebody you can't talk about. But obviously, I kind of wanted to wait to kind of connect with you just so you had some semblance of a mostly full roster. But I was in Vegas on Thursday night, watching the Thunder Minnesota game when the Darrion Williams news popped, and I think that a lot of people seem to think that there was a lean to maybe another school. I'll include myself in that, and you kind of hear, NC State's kind of in the mix, and then boom, next thing you know, he's done. The edit is out with him wearing the Letterman jacket. Just the impact, who he is, the impact that he can have, because I think anybody who watches college basketball knows what a good player he is.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's one of the most impactful players in the country. In our metric system, he's the number one player in the country.
Wow.
In our independent metric system that we've kind of built out with our assistant GM, Patrick Stacy. He's the most impactful player in the entire country. If you look at his
Is this
numbers
just the portal or anyone anywhere all season last year?
anywhere else, no,
Wow.
coming back this coming
Okay.
year.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's
Yeah. But
coming
still, yeah. Never
coming
mind.
in
Yeah.
this coming year. I mean, his score is higher than I'm not going to get into all that, but I mean, he can impact the game in a lot of ways. I mean, he obviously can score it. He shoots it pretty good, but he impacts it with his passing, his feel. He's just a really, really good basketball player. He's got some great leadership to him. Comes from a tremendous family. His mom and dad, Leon and Catherine, like really, really good people, and they do a great job of keeping him humble, but also, making sure that they're working together to help him move forward as well. So, it was a fun recruitment. And they're fun people to have on a visit. Most people didn't think we were getting him because they didn't know he had visited. He had visited us actually before he was at Kansas. He left us and went to Kansas. We just didn't, publicize everything that was going on with the visit and kind of brought him in and got him out. But he's somebody that's going to be a potential preseason All-American and potential ACC preseason Player of the Year. I mean, he's the real deal, and we're excited and more than just. I mean, he's a great basketball player, but he's a great person. He's a great teammate. The more you find out, you kind of find out some of that intel and just some of the things he did for his teammates at Texas Tech that went, that went undocumented, so to speak, or unreported on. He helped some of his teammates out that were in a little bit lesser situation than he was, and brought some parents to a game. He just did a lot of really unique stuff that I felt very, very comfortable with. Look, the data spits out who he is as a player. Then you've got to, the other part of it's figuring out who he is as a person, and he checks both boxes and passes both with flying colors.
Not just with him, but obviously there were some other guys that were kind of going through that draft process that you weren't like coming with you from McNeese. I'm just kind of curious, like, how do you find that balance of guys are fully locked in on the draft and like you want them to chase their dreams, but you also want to know if you want to come back, we're interested. I'm just curious, like how that balance works of kind of letting everybody, giving them their space, but also letting them know there's a spot for you in Raleigh if this is the decision that you make.
Yeah, I think everybody's different. Some kids want to be talked to and recruited even while they're going through the draft process. Some kids want to, you to just spot check with them, and some kids want to be left alone. And when it's time for them to get out of the draft process, they'll let you know. And so D5 was kind of in the last part of that. He was just let me go through the draft process, and then at the combine he started reaching back out and be like, hey, can we set up a visit and that sort of thing. So everybody's different. I think as a coach, you want to honor what they're asking you to do or honor what their request is as they go through the process. And so there's no real one size, fits all method to that.
Roster's largely set. Just for the casual
We can
college
always we
basketball.
can always add one or two
Well,
more. You never know.
yeah. Listen, there's some rumors on the internet. Like I said, there's some guys you probably can't talk about yet. I was gonna say,
Don't
I
believe
mean,
anything you hear and only half of what you see.
well, yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I mean, like I said, there was all sorts of stuff out there about Darrion Williams, and then, like I said, he's showing up on my timeline in an NC State Letterman's jacket. So got to be careful. I was gonna say, like, what now? I mean, I'm sure it from the day, pretty much from the start of last season through the NCAA tournament, you take the job, you hit the ground running. Roster seems to be largely set, minus a piece or two. Like, what do you do now? I mean, obviously, the kids are going to be probably back on campus if they aren't already. Do you get any downtime, or is it straight into summer practices, all that stuff?
Straight into summer practice. We're not gonna do any resting. So we were here all weekend, Memorial Day weekend. We were working all day, all the staff all weekend. So we were getting after it. So our guys get here starting this weekend.
Oh
We'll
wow.
have a majority of the team here next week. We'll kind of have a starter week where it's not a full week, but we kind of get going, and then after that, it's boom, boom, boom. We're in our 8 weeks for the summer, and we'll be after it. And that's the fun part. Like I enjoy the recruiting. I get energy with the recruiting. I love recruiting. I love meeting people, relationships. But the team building and the team forming, and that's what I enjoy that stuff. It's different when there's nobody around the facility. It's just me and the coach. Like I love having the players coming in and out, the players coming in. Like I had a kid. We have three kids here right now. One kid came in my office and we had lunch yesterday. Like I like that. Like that's the fun part for me is having action, having people around the facility, having people moving. And we hadn't had that yet, and so I'm excited to get that as we get going next week.
I'll tell you what, that's all I really got. I appreciate that. The only thing I was going to say about the Raleigh stuff was I said, when are we going to get a schedule? I mean, I know the ACC's down to 18. I think you guys are in Maui
We're
this
working
year.
on it. We got one more game to get. Everything else, we've got contracts out. We got one more game to get.
All
We
right.
got a home game December 13th against Kansas.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that out
Be a
there
great
yet?
time for you to come.
Is that out there yet?
I don't know. If it isn't, it is. If it isn't, it is now.
There you go. You know what? I had forgotten that you guys played at Fog Allen last year. So
Yeah, they're returning the game at Lenovo. Be a great time for you to come.
it is the holiday season. Tell my wife. I don't know if my wife. New York City's an easy sell around the holidays. I don't. Raleigh might be a little bit tougher, but December 13th. That's probably very doable. So I will let you know. That is definitely
Oh,
news.
I'll
to
be
me.
out in LA here this summer, so we'll get up out there. If nothing.
Yeah. You coming to? We'll talk off air. But yeah, there's a big Adidas event later this summer. So, all right. Well, Wade, man, dude, I always enjoy talking to you. I appreciate the time. I'll see you in LA in a couple weeks. Today's the day that Southwest, there are no more free bags. So, it's like I got to start, planning my flights a little bit differently now. So yeah, man, but I'll see you soon. I appreciate the time and, yeah, we'll talk, but we'll talk before the season starts, but best of luck and excited for you, excited for your guys. And, I'll see you in Raleigh soon. Okay.
Thanks so much. Appreciate you having me on. It was fun.